Yeah. I'm recording. So this guy will be here whenever he
Why are
gets.
you recording right now?
Because, I always started. Shut up. Why don't act like...
We never done that.
I'm wondering why you keep doing it every fucking time when we say something.
Because I'm the one who edits, and we have one episode that I was super proud of that I did not get to use because I didn't record beforehand and missed the first 20 minutes. Y'all remember?
That's your fault.
That's your fucking fault.
How the fuck is that my fault?
Why did you wait so long to start it?
I couldn't get it. My thing was, remember it was like updating or some shit. Because y'all told me not to fuck with it. You're like, just wait.
Hold on a second. Nobody ever told you not to fuck with it. We always tell you start early because we know it takes you an hour to get the computer.
But just now you were like, let me turn it around. We did it.
I'm with you.
No,
We're on the same page here. Yeah.
But now the computer's already set up, so I was just asking why. We've already been through the preliminary steps. Why are you now recording?
There are a bunch of idiots getting drunk, talking about conspiracy theories. There's really not much more to it than that. You're listening to Drunk Theory.
What's going on? Hello.
Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Nice.
Where are you guys located?
Greenville, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Can you not tell? Are you in South Carolina too?
Buckle in the Bible belt.
So hold on a second. Wait, let's start the show because then I want to tell you something. I want to ask you where you are. All right, we're just gonna go. Right, free flowing show. Yes.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let us do our little intro real quick. Welcome to Drunk Theory. I'm Kara.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Ryan.
Kelly.
And today we have David Weiss with us talking about flat Earth. And Kelly, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Revenge of the Jedi. So this has 2 ounces of white rum, 1 1/4 ounce of Midori, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, a bar spoon of limoncello, and then fill your glass with 7-Up or Sprite. We're using 7-Up. But is extra tasty and
it's very good
and very strong. So we are already drunk. We're day drunk here at Drunk Theory.
I am not drinking, but I did eat 5 milligram edible just a little while ago.
We were worried that you would be our first sober guest, but we
No, I'm good.
We actually had one other that didn't drink, but he also did edibles, so we're good.
Yes.
So you guys are in Greenville, South Carolina? Or
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Do you know where the Shrine Center is?
I feel like I do.
It's in Greenville. So where you guys are?
Where the Shiners are they?
We're having a Flat Earth conference there on March 27th.
Oh, for real? Like a Flat Earth?
Like there's going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of us. It's a it's a festival. You have to come. I'll give you it's Flat Earth Festivals, flatearthfestivals.com. It's Saturday the 20. Is it Saturday or Sunday? Whatever the 27th is. And then the day before, Friday, the day before, we rented the park across the street. So it'll just be a big picnic, barbecue, people hanging out, playing music.
Oh, we will definitely be there.
I want to be there. Flatearthfestivals.com.
Sweet.
And it's called the Solar Return Festival.
Oh, we are all over.
Yes, we will absolutely be there.
We will have a great time, and you guys will be flat earthers too by then. So it'll be amazing.
Okay.
So this festival, is this something you've done before, or will this?
Well, we had it there. It was called Flattoberfest back in October. It was the first time we had it at that location.
How did we not hear about it?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this.
You know,
we don't pay attention.
So write that down in your books, and we will be there. Now,
yes, we will absolutely be there.
So I'm the crazy one because I think the Earth is flat. I think you guys are the crazy ones because you think the Earth is a spinning ball flying through an infinite vacuum.
Well, I know. Okay, well, so to get started, you want to go ahead and like shout yourself out, give people a little bit of background.
Background is just a normal guy. I was in corporate America. I started my own company. Life is good. American dream. Everything's great. Live up here in the Northeast. I'm in Connecticut. And then I discovered I was doing a podcast on the side for fun, comedy, and conspiracies. And people started sending me flat earth stuff, and I would just delete those messages thinking that person's crazy. And then I was forced to look, and I went in to debunk flat earth. 6 years later, I'm talking to you guys. I have the Flat Earth podcast. I created the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. I quit my own company. I walked away from it all to spread this message, because at the end, we'll talk about why the hell does it matter? I still have to go to work tomorrow, right?
That is actually my only question for flat earth people.
Let's find out if the earth is flat first. Let's find out if your helio-nonsensical beliefs are real.
Okay, so I don't think any of us, I know I have never actually spoken to a flat earther. Never. I've never had.
Not that you know about. Not that you know of. Not that you know of.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I might work with people who are, but I've never had a conversation with one. Pretend like I'm an 8-year-old.
Okay.
Because when you start using these big words, you've lost me, because, you know.
I will use all easy words.
Please do.
So when people think of flat earth, we've been brainwashed purposely by design into thinking that this is the flat earth, that it's a disc floating in space.
Oh, I think
This
that
is
one right
not
there
what-
is the one I used for this episode.
Yeah, that's not what flat earth is. Flat
Well,
earth is not a disc in space with an edge where you can fall off into space. That's not what it is at all. That's what they want you to think it is, right? The earth isn't a ball.
Who is they?
They are the people that are controlling the world, the people that are pulling all of this nonsense that's going on right now, the controllers, the people that want to control our minds, right? So that's what flat earth isn't. And then if you think about what is the heliocentric model, is the globe model, where we live other planets. And in the globe model, we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're orbiting at 66 miles an hour, speeding up and slowing down. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. And this entire system is moving sideways at 1 or 2 million miles per hour.
is it only
4
six-
different directions at once. And you don't feel anything, right? 4 different directions at once. And we have lakes that look like this. Does that make any sense to you?
I mean,
sometimes
sometimes I fall down for no reason.
Well,
so-
that's because you guys, here's the thing. Your world belief is that the world is spinning. You don't feel it. So to make yourself feel better, you drink, and that way the world feels like it's spinning.
that might be it though. So
It makes us feel more at home with our core beliefs, which is a spinning ball, with a nuclear furnace in the middle and all sorts of nonsense.
So I did want to bring up kind of the scientific rationale for this, which would be that because everything is moving at this constant speed, like
That's what they tell us.
that you wouldn't feel it because the force would be proportional. So the force that's moving the earth, a
Right.
proportional force is moving me.
That's
So
what
what is the thought on that?
Yeah, so they want us to believe that it's so big and the earth only goes around once a day. Like it's like watching the hour hand on a clock. You don't see it move, right? And matter of fact, the earth is only going around once a day instead of twice a day. But earth is so big, it's moving at 1,000 miles an hour. If you're on the equator, it's moving 1,000 miles an hour. And it's curving. When you're curving, that equals acceleration. That when you change your direction. So if you're in a car going 100 miles an hour on a perfectly straight road and you have a dinner plate and you pour an inch of water on it, you could hold that dinner plate. As soon as that car starts turning the slightest bit, that water is going to slosh right off the plate. But we have water that doesn't move at all. I mean, perfectly calm water. So just backing up a little bit, the earth is like a puddle or a pond or a big lake in the middle of a low spot in the land. So here are all the continents. They're surrounded by water, but all of the water has a container. It's surrounded by land that's just higher than the water, just like a pond. The edge of a pond or the edge of a lake is the land that's higher than the water surface, right? So if you go to the edge of the lake, you can't fall off. You can step off the lake onto the land and then take a walk. Well, this is just the shoreline of the world pond. It's called Antarctica, and it's bigger than all of the continents and all of the oceans combined.
Well, what if you jump over that wall?
Well, it's not a wall. See, so that's where it's just a shoreline. Like if you were on a big lake in the middle of Kansas, just for a smaller scale, and you got to the edge of the lake and you stepped up onto the land, you can walk and walk and walk. You can go for hundreds of miles. You can go for thousands of miles.
Okay.
What's out there? We don't know because it's off limits to everybody. Nobody is allowed to explore out here. No
Yeah.
person, no corporation, nobody. And that's a treaty until the year 2041, where they'll just kick it down the road another 60 years.
Hey, I'll be alive in 2041. We can go look.
So,
Can, yes.
so Antarctica frames everything on all sides. Is it always ice? So
Ice all the way around.
We don't know what's beyond, this white ring right here. That's 1,000 miles, right? It's huge. This is massive. And we don't know what's beyond there. This is just a artist rendition, of course. What is beyond there? Is there more land? Or maybe this is Antarctica and there's other oceans with extra land out here, extra territory, extraterrestrials.
That's what I was about to say. Those would be aliens then?
Extraterrestrials, extra, more, territory, extraterrestrials.
I told you not to use big words.
Well, extraterrestrials is the same thing as aliens. They come from the outer space.
More Earth.
Oh, okay.
More Earth, outer space, beyond Antarctica, not outer space in the sky, outer space beyond Antarctica. I mean, that's just one possibility. We don't know. Maybe it's all ice. Maybe it just goes on and on forever, or maybe there's a dome. Maybe we live in a domed world, which I kind of believe that there is a dome over the Earth, and everything we see in the sky, the moon, the sun, are all rotating within that dome.
What is the dome made out of?
Don't know. Can't reach it.
No, I mean,
So my question would be, who is enforcing that we can't go to the edge, and how are they enforcing it?
Yeah, good question. So in 1957, 59, somewhere around there, they came up with the Antarctic Treaty. All of the nations in the world all of a sudden got together and said, hey, nobody can go there, no corporation, nobody. And they put it out to the year 2041 with a rule that says no one can even question the treaty until then. Bizarre. And everybody agrees. So if you want to apply to go independently explore there, it'll cost you between $200,000 and $2 million in permits. You will get denied, and they keep your money. So that kind of bars a lot of people from doing it. But one guy, I forget what country it was. I should look it up because I keep saying I forget in every show. He got permission from his country to go, and he got a boat and ship. He must have had millions of dollars in supplies and whatnot. And before he even got to the shoreline of Antarctica, he was stopped by a military ship. They threatened to sink him, turned him around, sent him home. And when he got home, he got arrested and jailed. So that's how they stop you.
My thing with that is the world governments cannot patrol all the water all the time.
yeah, I thought there was like a whole thing where like can't you murder somebody like in the middle of the ocean and nobody can do anything about it?
Well, so if you look at if you look at the size of the world, there's really only 3 access points to Antarctica. There's really no other way to get there. And one of them is from Santiago, Chile. Here, we'll look at this map. One of them's from right here, right? The other one's from Africa, and the other one's from New Zealand. And that's a huge distance to get to the shoreline. And so they're guarding that. I mean, they have radar, they have boats out here. They have satelloons, not satellites. They have satellites hanging from balloons. So they can see you when you're going there, and then they can just intercept you.
So, but Antarctica does have a constant presence there. I mean, there are people that are constantly.
So there's a base. There's a base right here. I believe there's a base over here, and I'm not sure if there's a base over here, but that's it.
What do you think they're doing out there?
I think that perhaps the real rulers of this world are stationed out there. I think that they're literally hiding it from us, because if they have us believing that we are on a ball, there's nothing more to discover. Remember the Truman Show, the True Man Show?
Yeah.
There's nothing more to discover, Truman. And that way your mind is in a matrix, is in a prison. It's a prison for your mind, the ball, and it stops you from understanding that you are at the center of creation and that there could be more out there.
What do you think of I've read about this, and this is what I personally believe. that we are a ball, but we're semi-hollow, where there's an entrance possibly to the
Hollow Earth.
inner world at Antarctica that Admiral Byrd found, and that's why nobody's allowed to go there. Do you think there's any water to that, or there's no possibility at all?
So I think that's more of a psyop, because if you believe in the Hollow Earth, you still believe in the globe model, and that globe model is the prison. But Admiral Byrd said he flew over Antarctica and he found a land bigger than the United States that no human has ever stepped foot on. So maybe he was, they're like, how can we explain that? If Antarctica is supposed to look like this, how could he find more, bigger than the United States? So they came up with the Hollow Earth story, and that way that kind of makes sense, and it kind of recaptures everybody's imagination.
Controlled opposition.
Yeah, it's a way. It's like the Flat Earth Society. That is not Flat Earthers. Flat Earth Society, where if you Google, you'll get their images, you'll get their videos. That is controlled opposition. That's a government-controlled website.
So I can kind of get behind the Hollow Earth theory, but not necessarily in a link to Flat Earth, because if we're not allowed to go to the edge, and we're not allowed to go down the secret tunnel that goes to the center, how would we know that there's not another side with more civilization?
Well, again, as I said, there could be. It makes a lot more sense that there's civilizations beyond Antarctica out here. Maybe we're in a dome, and there's another dome over this world and another dome over this world, and that we can't really get through these domes unless, except for certain times where maybe it's an energetic dome. I don't know. Again, anything beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation.
Nobody knows.
But the deepest hole ever dug on Earth, whether it's flat or round, is called the Great Borehole in Russia.
Oh God, is that the one we argued about?
Yeah, we argued about this for a long time. I remember. Tell her how deep it goes.
I don't understand holes.
It only goes.
I don't know about
it
this
goes
story.
short. It's short of 8 miles.
That's as far as they go down.
Yeah, and then they hit an impenetrable barrier, and no matter what they did, they couldn't get any deeper. So what's below that? If we look, here's the Great Borehole.
Why couldn't they go any deeper? Did they hit?
Because they hit a barrier that they couldn't. Nothing could go through it. They tried to drilling it. So if you put it into perspective, if the Earth is an apple, they drilled halfway through the skin of the apple. And while they were drilling, they were using ground penetrating radar to see what they were going to hit next. And they were wrong every step of the way. They're like, all right, there's no more water. Oh, there's more water. So they were wrong, but they got halfway through the skin. They hit an impenetrable barrier, but somehow they know what's in the center. This is a meme. This is non-scientific mumbo jumbo garbage that they've infected our brains with, thinking that this is the Earth. Volcanoes, lava comes from the center of the Earth. All of that is nonsense.
Well, if lava doesn't come from the center, then what's causing volcanoes?
Well, here's one that's going to blow your mind. Cone-shaped mountains with lava coming out of the top don't exist. They never have. Now, there is lava coming out of the ground in certain places. Hawaii has them, and it's lava. They're called lava tubes. And what's generating them? Well, the Earth is electric in nature, and the electricity generates a lot of heat. I don't know. Maybe it's the veins of the Earth, of the living Earth. I don't know, but there aren't volcanoes where there's fissures coming all the way up and shooting out of a cone-shaped mountain. It doesn't exist, never has. We've only seen it in movies. It's not in real life.
That's true. I've never seen a volcano.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had a hard time with that. I'm like, wait a minute. There's so many videos online, and what they show
you can go visit a fucking volcano.
Well, you can see lava pools, but you don't not a cone-shaped volcano shooting at lava. And when you see the National Geographic shows on them, which is another gatekeeping mind control,
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So they'll show you a mountain that has a smoke coming out of the top, and then they'll show you a close-up of lava. Two different places, right? They mix it all together to make you think that that's what's going on. So again, I'm not the expert on lava. There's a whole bunch of other people. There's a guy in Hawaii that's pretty good at it. But you gotta, once you start looking into lava.
Is there a word for lava experts? That's like a job you can have. I'm a lava expert.
It's called the lava ontologist.
Oh wow.
Well, I didn't know that.
I made that up.
I was thinking like geologist.
Something like a
but-
geologist specialist that would do certain types of.
I have another question about Antarctica.
Yes.
So, where people are in Antarctica, the ability to be there is granted, based on they're doing scientific research. So-
Aliens.
They're
That's what I
they're just at the shoreline of Antarctica.
Right.
They're not in the outer space of Antarctica.
Well, yeah, that may very well be true. But I'm just thinking, so who is controlling these people not to be putting out the data that Antarctica is really the rim of the Earth? Or
Well, we have flat earthers that actually have worked in Antarctica for a year. One of them was a plumber, and they just work in these bases near the shoreline, doing in these little tiny towns, or I guess they're pretty much, you can call them a town at this point, and that's what they do. They're not allowed to explore the outer limits of Antarctica. And the other problem is Antarctica is super cold. It's cold. It's dark. You can't navigate away from anywhere. You get lost because compasses don't work and there's no GPS.
And I'm on board with him on this because it's the same with Area 51. Those people aren't talking, or we would know everything. So
well, there would be a reason why compasses wouldn't work because it's the pole, and GPS absolutely works though.
The GPS does not work in Antarctica. It works in the North Pole, but not in Antarctica.
she's our smart one. So she's gonna ask you all the smart questions.
That's okay.
So the British are doing their survey of Antarctica with GPS, because I actually did see that you said that GPS does not work in Antarctica, and I'm like, why would that be a thing? So of course I looked that up. No, the British are absolutely doing their surveys of Antarctica.
That's what they're telling you.
You're reading a nice story.
But
Nobody's allowed to go there.
Well, but also
Nobody's even
just
allowed
think
to
about
check
it.
on them.
It makes sense that a compass wouldn't work.
I don't know. Sometimes my GPS don't work in Anderson.
So we don't have. So let me tell you about GPS. GPS is not run by satellites. GPS is run by ground towers. So when you're in an airplane and you're flying like from California to Hawaii, when you're about 100 to 200 miles off the coast, boom, you're off of GPS. You're just in approximated mode. And no matter what flight software you're using to track the plane, it says approximated mode. It's calculating where you are. And then when you show up, 100 or 200 miles from Hawaii, bam, you're back on the GPS, because GPS is all based on ground-based systems. Now, there are AWACS planes. There are satellites that are hanging from balloons. NASA, the largest owner of helium companies and the largest consumer of helium in the world, puts up tens of thousands of these things. What are they doing? Are they doing communications? Maybe a little bit. Are they taking pictures? Probably. Are they helping with GPS? Maybe. But these things are, this is what satellites are. They hang from balloons. They're not falling around a spinning ball planet, because that makes absolutely no sense when you actually think about it. I mean, how can the Earth be moving in 4 different directions at once in curved trajectories, if I can say the word, and there's satellites that can remain over North Carolina? How is that possible? We're spinning and orbiting and corkscrewing through the galaxy, but this little satellite right here can stay right above this piece of land.
There's thousands up there.
Okay.
Space
Yeah,
drones,
well, that's what
like,
they say, but they're all hanging from balloons.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to remember, think
up there.
about a geostationary satellite. A geostationary satellite is a satellite that stays above the same point in the land, right? But how is it going to do that when we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? So the satellite, because it's higher, has to be mirroring that spin and staying over, at a faster speed. We're also curving in an orbit at 66,000 miles an hour. So that satellite has to be chasing the Earth while spinning around the Earth. The Earth is also chasing the sun in a third direction at 500,000 miles an hour. So that satellite has to also do that to stay over North Carolina or South Carolina, whatever. And none of that makes any sense. But a balloon within the Earth system makes perfect sense. And they can control, it kind of hangs stationary, but if they need it to go left or right, they raise it up or lower it down where there's counter cross winds. And they can go into a wind that's going east or going west. and they can kind of keep it right where they want it just by controlling its height remotely.
So under the flat Earth model,
Mhm.
I guess the question would be that, I mean, I guess the thing that you guys question would be that the Earth can't spin because we don't feel it, because because it doesn't impact other things on. I mean, is that kind of,
it doesn't impact anything.
So do y'all don't think it
orbiting
spins
or
at
anything.
all, or I'm confused?
It doesn't move at all. So
Okay,
remember
we're
this.
stationary. We're
Okay,
stationary.
okay.
Remember this. We're moving in the since the time we've been talking. The Earth is a 250,000 miles of where it started from already, just since the time we've been talking. Okay, it's corkscrewing through the galaxy in 4 different directions at once. Now, you guys know about the Georgia Guidestones, I hope, right?
We do. We
been
been
there.
there.
Yeah, we actually visited it.
Right. So do you remember that hole in the Guidestones?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So this hole right here, did you look through it? Did you see? Did you go there at night?
No, we were there during the day, but we did see the hole. We know what it was supposed to do. We didn't.
But if you
see.
look through it, you see Polaris, which is the North Star. And if you do a time lapse like we did, all of these stars circle around Polaris. How can we be moving in 4 different directions at once and Polaris never moves from that hole? Ever, 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 ever. It's been up for over 40 years and Polaris is still through that hole.
Well, apparently Polaris is moving the exact same direction we are at the exact same speed.
Come on.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know I'm saying exactly. I'm saying that's ridiculous.
Hold on.
Really?
What's your name in the back there,
How
guy?
else would it do that?
That's Ryan.
Ryan.
How else would it do that?
no,
Ryan,
it absolutely doesn't.
It
That's
couldn't.
know.
How else would?
Tell me
I'll tell you how
why.
else it would do it. The
No,
Earth
I'm
is
telling her why it does it. That's weird as shit.
the Earth is stationary. All of the stars are fixed in the dome above us or the firmament, and they're spinning around an axis point, and that axis point is Polaris. Okay, so when you're directly at the center of the flat Earth, Polaris is directly over your head. When you come to Connecticut, Polaris is 42 degrees off the horizon. When you go to North Carolina, it's even lower just because it's farther away. You're walking away from it, okay? And it's just getting lower due to perspective, not because of a curve of the Earth. That's nonsense. But they brainwashed us into thinking that. Go ahead.
Explain to me fixed but spinning. So
So we're fixed. Oh, no, fixed but spinning. I got it. So imagine a big plastic disc, and in the disc are stars that are polyurethaned into that disc, right? You have a big piece of lucite with all the star patterns frozen into them. That disc is above us, and it's spinning on an axis. It's spinning above
like a
us.
snow globe with the stars in the dome of the globe spinning around us. So they're
Yeah,
always
and the
fixed
dome is
directly over.
spinning with the stars.
Because how
So-
would the North Star still be the North Star 5,000 years ago when they painted it in caves?
And-
shit?
and-
But
it's
isn't
in the
there
same spot.
some constellations that you can only see at certain times?
But how
Well,
would
yes and
how
no.
would we still see them
Well,
thousands of
fine.
years later instead of moving? If we're moving through space at thousands of miles an hour, why are they still in the same
well,
spot?
and also-
Millions of miles an hour, and why are they still in the same spot 2 days in a row, let alone
Exactly.
decades?
I mean, I'm maybe talking about
Okay,
thousands
well-
of years, not
All
even.
right, let me hold on. You guys are jumping ahead. We got to go one question at a time.
We're drunk.
It's
Yeah,
okay. It's all
My-
right.
my thing
Drunk
with
people
that-
are the best because their minds are open a little bit.
We
you know?
are.
People have used the North Star to navigate for centuries.
How exactly?
Let me explain
Well,
how that
if-
works. I
the
never
Earth is-
understood it until I became
now
a
I'm
flat
confused.
earther.
I'm not done with my statement yet. If the Earth is always moving, why would that star always point north?
Well,
Yes.
and then if the
Because
North
the
Star is
whole
always where it is, how
system
come
is
sometimes
moving.
Orion's belt is not here?
the whole
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Moving.
Then
The
it
North
should
Star
all
isn't in-
move.
The North Star isn't in our system.
How
It's
come
out
one
of
of them is stationary, but this one you
Yeah.
can only see in certain
If we're
spots?
moving and the North Star is in a different system, it should also be moving in a different direction.
We're gonna try to. We'll
Yeah,
stop
we're-
arguing with each other. You go ahead.
Yes.
Can you guys, while I'm talking, can someone enable screen sharing? You know how to do that?
Oh, I do not know how to do that.
So
but-
down where it says screen share, there's a little, probably an up arrow, and it says allow all participants to screen share. So here's something to kind of melt your brain a little bit.
Oh, do I just
Go to advance.
So
hold on? Did it
so-
work?
no, you're screen sharing. I don't need
Oh,
you to
oh,
screen share.
How do I
So
take it
stop,
off?
hit stop screen sharing.
The red.
Oh, okay. I'm
And
sorry,
then-
we don't know what we're doing.
And then
Oh,
on
I
the
gotta
bottom,
hit arrow and do use like you do.
yeah, it says allow all participants to screen share.
Multiple-
There you go. Beautiful. You did it. All right. So check this out. So here's the sun, and the Earth is orbiting around the sun all year long, right? That's what we're taught. So over here, if you're on this side of the ball, you're looking away from the sun. So that's midnight. So somebody right here on this side of the ball is looking this direction and can see this star at midnight, right? Easy, right? Because over here on this side of the ball, it's noon, because if you looked up, you'll be looking at the sun. Up is, any way away from the Earth. That would be up. So we're here. 6 months later, the Earth is over here. So midnight is not this way anymore, because that's daylight. Midnight is this way. So now the observer here is looking at these two stars. How could we see any of the same stars 6 months apart when we do? We do see them.
You got me
So-
with the stars.
So again, there are stars that we don't see at certain times of the year, and that's only because they're in the day sky at that time. So can you guys see this? Is that up on the screen? Nice and big? All right. So this is the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. And we're looking down. The sky is a clock. It's very easy. The sun goes around once a day. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. Right now we're having a full moon. And the sun will lap the moon once every 28 days. So you watch, it's going to start catching up to the moon 28 times around, and it laps the moon. So the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. All right. There used to be 13 months, but they changed it to 12 months. But now we're going to look at the stars. If I turn on the fixed stars in the zodiac that are above us, right now the sun is in Pisces. Well, guess what? We can't see the star Pisces because they're always in the day sky, right? But we can see all of these stars because these stars are in the night sky, right? These ones in the dark here. So these are the stars that we can see now. The stars lap the sun once a year. So the sun will be here for a month. Then next month it'll be here. The next month it'll be here. The next month it'll be here. And that's how the sun is in these signs. And that's why we see some different stars. But there's many stars like Orion that we see all year long. We see the Big Dipper all year long. Okay. And so that's how the wheel in the sky keeps turning with the stars above us. Like if you go out tonight and look at, at 10 p.m., midnight, whatever, and mark where a whole bunch of stars are in the sky, draw a little chart and say, all right, that one's right over my chimney. That one's right over here. Next year at this time, or in 10 years, same time, same night, go out. Those stars will be in the exact same place. That proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that we're not moving. Those stars are fixed in their position, spinning above us. Right?
That's fucking wild.
Thank you. It is a little wild. So let me show you how a compass works. This is going to blow your mind. And by the way, this does not prove flat Earth. It works on a ball and a flat Earth. Okay. So the north is in the center of the flat Earth. It's in the center of the world pond. There's a magnetic force there, whether it's a magnetic mountain or whatever it is, all compasses will point to the north. So any direction you go away from the center is south. This is south. Away from the center is south. East and west are circles, right? East and west is a circle because if you put a compass right here, you guys can see my mouse, right?
Yeah.
If you put a compass, like you're in New York, your compass is pointing towards the north. You got the north facing this way. If you try to go east, you have to keep turning if you want to head 90 degrees. 90 degrees is a circle around that magnet. And then you come back to California and New York. And because of your programming, you'll think you sailed around a ball when you just sailed around a flat lake. Here's what you can't do on a flat Earth. You can't go from Santiago, Chile, south and pop up over in Australia. And guess what? Nobody's ever done that. If the Earth was a globe, it would have been done a billion times already because billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. Okay. Billions of people have gone north, straight line. As soon as you pass the North Pole, you're going south over to Japan and to the Middle East, right? You can cut across the middle, but you can't cut across the bottom because there is no bottom. This is a way. If you go south in any direction, you never return. Now, can you keep going? Do you hit a dome? Do you find another world? I don't know. It's off limits to us.
Now, if I research this later and this is right, you're gonna fuck me up.
Well, here it is. You are going to be screwed up.
Well,
Hey,
my whole
come find me at the Solar Return Festival. I'm telling you, you want.
We're
to
gonna
come.
be
I promise
there.
you, we'll be there. I
super
swear to you,
excited.
we'll be there. We love
All
coming.
right.
Anytime.
It's a music festival. We're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have new best friends. All right, and a lot of people live in South Carolina and North Carolina. So,
Before we move
so let me tell you. Listen, this is the hard thing.
hold on.
If
Before we
there's
move
so
on,
much, there's so many turds in the punch bowl that you can't find any fruit.
So can we do a live episode with you if we go to the festival?
Oh,
You can
we've never done
get
a
me
live
for
episode.
if you guys are streaming live, I will do a short interview with you. But
Okay.
there's going to be so
Okay.
many other people. But probably on Friday would be better outside at the park. We rented the park for the whole day, so just go check it out, get your tickets, and it's cheap, and go, because there's a lot of people going to want to talk to me. It's like I literally dropped dead after one of these things. So when you search for flat earth, you end up with disinformation. You end up at the Flat Earth Society. They're uploading hundreds of videos every week which are just garbage. So when you search for flat earth, you get propaganda and garbage, and then you'll just give up. This app this app will feed you what you want. Every day there's a new video over here. You click the video and it teaches just another little thing about flat earth. Short videos during the week, longer ones on the weekend. And I have a challenge for people. I say, hey, take the Flat Earth app challenge. Watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. And then if you still think the earth is a globe and can send me one, I'll give you a Bitcoin. But before you do that, you have to hit the question mark. You see the question mark over here? If you hit the question mark, up come all of the questions you're going to ask. What about tides? What about seasons? Hey, what about eclipses? So if I click what about eclipses, up comes a playlist of videos that you won't easily find on YouTube. And I'm guessing soon they'll probably be removed from YouTube. But if you watch them, then you'll understand. And these are experiments you can do yourself. Everything I tell you, you can verify yourself. Don't just believe a video on YouTube. Just like, oh, that's interesting. Let me go verify that.
I would love to talk about eclipses.
Yeah, we had a Twitter person, and I forget now who it was, but said they wanted us to ask about eclipses.
Yeah, so the eclipses don't. Well, the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse are definitely mysterious. We can prove that the lunar eclipse is not done by the Earth. Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie, says if the Earth was flat, an eclipse would look like this. Right? It sometimes look like this and not like this. Okay. Well, that's not true. We don't believe that. And there's a thing called, let me stop sharing for a second. There's a thing called the Seleninian eclipse, where I know it's a big word and I can barely pronounce it. Where the sun and the moon are both above the horizon during the eclipse, then when the eclipse starts. And now that's impossible because it's supposed to be the Earth that's getting in between. So if you're an observer on the top of the Earth, here you are. You're an observer and you can see the moon and the sun both above the horizon. One of them would have to go below the horizon to get in a perfect line with, all three have to be in line for the eclipse to happen. But the eclipse starts before either one of them go below the horizon. And the eclipse sometimes starts from the top. If the Earth was moving up, it would move up like this and eclipse the moon from the bottom. But it comes in from the top. What is doing this? We don't know. Now, there's ancient mythology. Mythology, is that the word?
Yeah. That's a big one. I know.
I'll use that word. And that most of these people believe in that there's dark bodies in the sky. The moon is provably its own light. It's not a reflected light. So if you look at all of the ancient cultures before this nonsense world that we live in now, they all knew that the Earth, they all had flat Earth. They were all about flat Earth, all of them, from the Mayans, the Incas, everything, all. The only one that has a globe, the religion, is NASA, biggest religion on Earth. Okay, NASA. They're full of it.
Hold on, I have a question with all this moon talk, and this probably doesn't have anything to do with anything, but it freaks me out that sometimes you can see the sun and the moon during the day.
Well, that actually works in the helio nonsensical model, but again, there's so many things that don't work. There's many things that work. just finishing up on the app real quick, and then I'm going to show you an eclipse, how a solar eclipse might happen. This is going to blow your mind. Okay. There's also tons of other resources on here. There's playlists in different languages. There's different stuff that look, bottom left on the app, Flat Earth Festivals, Greenville, South Carolina, March 26th and 27th. You can click that and get your tickets right there.
We are definitely
right?
going.
So
I gotta excuse myself for just a moment.
I'm sorry,
it's all right. You want me to show you guys a video about how a solar eclipse might happen? This one's gonna take a little focus. You up for it?
Sure.
I can try.
can try.
We can handle this.
So I believe that the sun and the moon that we see are with it, that we're seeing a projection of the sun and the moon into the Earth system, and that the real sun and the moon are the projector outside of the firmament. Maybe the firmament's glass-like, okay? And it's being projected in like a magnifying glass would project in. So here's an eclipse that was filmed, and I'm going to try to jump through this real quick so we don't take forever. So on the right here is an actual eclipse that I filmed. It was a little hazy sky. Let me go back. And on the left, I'm creating one, basically rear projecting a light source onto the back of a paper towel. Okay? Kind of looks the same, because during a solar eclipse, you never see a moon approach the sun or exit the sun. You only see this thing eclipse it. So this is a real eclipse that happened. I think this was filmed in Michigan. And right next to the sun was this. The sun is eclipsed this much, but you can't really tell because it's just blown out. But this one that's moving around is a lens flare. This one, what is this? What is this little mini eclipse that's happening here? And I suggest that it's the projector of the real sun. It's the source of the real sun, and that's being magnified through the dome into our reality. And here it is. So think of this as the magnifying glass, the light source, and the dome is the magnifying glass, and it's being projected into our reality. Okay. So the sun, wait, hold on. The sun is eclipsed this much right here. You just can't tell because it's blown out because it's so bright. But watch what happens. So I decided to do the same thing, but instead of using a paper towel, I used a piece of tissue, which was thinner, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe the sky screen, I call it, is thinner. So here we go. Right. So here's the one I did on the paper towel. Let me jump forward. Right. So let me just show you. So it's being projected from the back. Let me just go back. There we go. Hold on, back a little bit. Sorry for jumping forward. So what this is this is how I did it. You never see it approaching. You just see its shadow, because the real sun is out here, and this is what we see in our world.
Now, how big does that fucking projector have to be?
Well, I don't know. It's the light of God. Who knows what it is? And the sun isn't that big. The sun's small and close. So watch what happens here. So hold on, go back a little bit. So here I did it with the thinner source, and look right here. Watch what happens as the eclipse starts. The eclipse is starting. Look, here's the same thing that we saw. What's this little mini eclipse doing right outside the sun? This is the projector behind the paper towel. And if we watch together, it's the same thing. Look, they both have the same thing. So my theory is better than any heliocentric nonsensical theory.
So is the sun round in
There is no sun. It's a projector.
But
it looks round, but you look at any light from any distance, it sure looks spherical. I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to show you 4 moons, and you have to guess really quickly which one of these is a sphere. Is this one a sphere? Quick.
No.
The next
No?
one.
Well, it's a half a sphere, so that was a little tricky. How about this one? Is this one a sphere?
Yes.
Yes. So when we look up at the sky, looking at the lights in the sky is no way to tell the shape of the floor. It's flat. Okay. How about this one? Is that a sphere?
No, that's baloney.
That's a cup. Look, that's concave. So what I'm saying is, you can't, look up at the lights in your ceiling and tell me what shape your floor is. Okay. It makes no sense. The shape of the pool balls on the pool table have no bearing on the shape of the pool table. So saying is the sun round or the other planets round, is nonsense. It has no correlation. We had this the rover that landed on Mars the other day. This is Mars through a super zoom camera.
I don't believe in Mars.
That's Mars. That's Mars.
I don't believe in any of the pictures from Mars.
Well, this is you can do this yourself. So this is an energetic light. It's not physical, in my opinion. And they're lying about everything that we see in space. Planets, all the pictures are nonsense. This is the star Arcturus. Look, this is Arcturus through a consumer super zoom camera. This isn't a light trillions and trillions of miles away. This is something within our Earth system that's part of who we are. This is the star Sirius.
The reason I ask about whether things are round is
Yeah.
that if you're looking at something like eclipses where you see shadows that are round, the assumption would be that those were cast by round things.
Well, you're assuming it's a shadow. How do you know the moon isn't just dimming its own light?
Are different things.
Did you go
Very
outside during
different.
our eclipse a couple of years ago? Did you go outside?
Well,
I've only seen one eclipse in my whole life, but the weird
I think I was
the
at work.
pattern that
I
it
was
makes
at
on the
work.
ground.
Oh,
It
so the
worked.
trees, yeah, it's like a camera.
Oh, it's crazy, right? It makes
Yeah,
them-
that shit was neat as hell.
So here's something, and I'm not telling anyone to go do this, but I'm kind of telling you to go do it. So they say don't look at the eclipse, you'll go blind, and they give everyone free eclipse wearing glasses.
Yeah.
I don't want you to look at the eclipse. There's information coming from that source. There's healing properties coming from it. I sat at the beach for an hour and a half. The eclipse took about an hour and a half, the one we had in August a couple of years ago. And I stared at it the entire time without any sunglasses on, nothing. And guess what happened? My eyesight got better.
The eclipse cured your cataracts or
It
whatever.
made my eyesight better.
Yeah. I
It
didn't
may have
look
done
at
other
it, I looked at
things.
the ground.
It may have done other things too. But again, I'm a sun gazer, so my eyes I've gotten used to strong sunlight. You don't just go stare at the sun, you'll burn your eyes. You will burn your eyes. Okay. But if you learn how to build up, it's like lifting weights. Like if you have never gone and lifted weights and you go to the gym and try to bench 300 pounds, you're going to hurt yourself. You might break your arms.
Yeah, maybe don't do that.
Right. So again, if you want to learn about sun gazing, that's a whole nother thing. Highly recommend it. But when the government says don't look, you need to look.
Kelly had to go make new drinks.
Yeah,
I get it.
Keep
I
talking or
understand.
you like do it.
And so let me here's one that I do it in every show, but it's I think it's an essential one. It's flight routes, right? If we're looking at the bottom of the globe Earth here's Santiago, Chile, and here's Australia. What would be the fastest way to fly there? Right across the bottom, right? Whoop, right across. And people say, well, you can't fly over Antarctica. Well, then you just stay out here and you fly over these islands out here. You go all the way around. And that is the quickest, fastest way to Antarctica.
The fastest way to fly would be the direction of the wind, though.
Well, so
The shortest distance.
Well, that's the shortest distance. It's 1/3 on the ball. It's 1/3 the distance of doing this. This is how they really go. They go all the way up here, all the way across, and all the way down. And I'm going to make it worse. The west coast of Australia, they fly all the way up here. They fly all the way over to Europe and Dubai, and then they go down again. That's crazy. Now, why would they take this crazy route? And their answer is because this is how the Earth is laid out. If we go up, across America, Europe, Dubai, Western Australia, it's a straight line. Okay. That's how airplanes fly. In straight and level over a non-rotating plane. In all of the FAA manuals, it says, treat the world as a flat, non-rotating plane. Why would they say that if the Earth is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour?
They charge more for tickets if that.
That's the whole thing is about tickets. There you go.
So I'm not a pilot nor an expert on air travel at all, but I am a boater.
I'm a boater too. You should join the Flat Earth Yacht Club. It's free.
Holy shit, y'all have a boat club?
I guess expertise would be more in paddle sports like kayaks and canoes and
He
things like
likes
that.
canoes.
So when I want to travel across the lake, the fastest way is not always a straight line across the lake. It's to get in the current and travel with the current across to my destination.
Well, but if
100%.
it's based on wind, then it would always change.
Well, it doesn't. You're right, and
The
Flow
wind ain't
this
gonna make
way.
you go three times faster to go all the way
it actually might.
up and go around. There's no way it'd be that
Hold on, he
fast.
said it might. Hold on.
So hold on. So
They'd have to go supersonic.
It's not always like when you look at air travel, it's not always about speed, but it's also about fuel consumption to get more distance out of your
yeah.
gas tank.
So
Three times.
So listen up. The Santiago to Auckland, the Santiago to Australia. There are a couple of direct flights. They're all done by Qantas Airlines. They're only flown by, I think, 4 different military pilots. They're all done on this one model of a plane. I think they have 2 or 3 or 4 of them. I'm not sure. And these planes have 7 layers of heat-resistant paint on them. That's interesting, right? And if you look on the app, if I hit the weather icon, this is a current wind chart of what's going on. Those planes fly at 40,000 feet, 45,000 feet. Those red circle there, that's going like 200 miles an hour plus, winds are there. So if you want to go from Santiago, you fly up this way. And instead of going straight here across, you go into this wind current and you go around and you take a 200 mile an hour tailwind to get here.
They go the opposite direction completely and don't go over Antarctica at all.
Well, no, Antarctica's out here. Antarctica is beyond the edge of this. This is the North Pole. And if they want to go to Western Australia, maybe they'll cross here. They'll get into this current. They'll come around this side and they'll go to Western Australia. The problem is with these direct flights, they're super expensive and they're often canceled at the last minute. And that's because the winds aren't cooperating. And they don't go the way that you're telling. And the way we know this is we did a live stream, a 14-hour live stream where we had somebody get on the plane. We proved that they were getting on the plane. They took off. We talked to them until they took off. Then we tracked the plane with flight software. And we saw where they said they were going. They said they were going around, this bottom of the ball. And but the guy on the plane, he was taking compass readings and comparing them to what the seatback map was showing, and none of it matched up. But when
I have a follow-up question.
But when we lay it out on a flat Earth map, it lays out perfectly.
I have a follow-up question to that. If the guy got on a plane and flew straight across and you were tracking it, how are you tracking it when GPS doesn't track across that section of land?
Well, no, it does. It can track those planes, but because it's flying over land almost the whole time. It's not even going over the deep southern oceans. But they were lying. The tracking wasn't real. The tracking was incorrect. They were lying to us.
He actually said they were.
I have a dumb
He
question.
said all the satellites were land-based, so that would actually still work.
You were talking about them being covered in the 7 layers of the heat-resistant paint.
The planes that go that way.
Yeah, what would be the why?
Yeah. Because those planes go faster than they're telling us. A regular plane goes 500, 550 miles an hour.
Okay, because of the speed, not because they're closer to some weird shit, just because of the speed.
No.
That's where
they're going another way faster, and they have to.
They're going. So they went to 700 miles an hour with a 200 mile an hour tailwind. That's 900 miles an hour. And now
I was thinking you were saying
and what happens
closer to something or something,
No, what also happens is sometimes those planes will take off
Heat generate.
and they'll be 5 hours late. 5 hours. That's because the winds weren't cooperating enough. Sometimes, if planes were flying, as expected, there would be more consistency. But because of those long trips, it's a much longer trip than they're telling us. So there's massive variations in these things, especially in opposite directions. They change. It's perplexing. There's this book, 16 Emergency Landings, where we have these emergency landings that happen and it screws them up many, many times. So there was a trip from Taiwan to Los Angeles, and this is the way they said they were going. Okay. So out here is Hawaii. Here's Los Angeles. And right about here, there was an emergency. Somebody had a heart attack or whatever it was, a baby is being born. And the plane could have landed in Hawaii. It could have continued, but instead it went way out of its way. It went all the way up to Alaska. Why did it go to Alaska? And the truth is because this is the real trip it was going. Taiwan, emergency, Alaska, right there. Hawaii is out here. All right. It was going here, emergency, next spot, Alaska. There's 16 of these anomalies that have happened where a plane lands in Moscow when there was 10 other airports thousands of miles closer, but it landed in Moscow. Draw that line on a flat earth map. Moscow was the closest airport. The emergency landings prove flat earth. This book is available on Lulu. You can order it, or it's free online if you want the PDF. But I love the coffee table book because it's amazing, and someone picks it up and they become a flat earther.
So I just stepped back into this, but since you said prove flat earth, we had a question from
We got some Twitter questions.
Oh yes. So we did have a
Don't judge us based on these questions.
a question.
It's all right. I'm not judging you guys. You guys are great, by the way.
You
I
are
love
too.
you.
We appreciate you coming.
So
Yeah.
we had a question from Ethan Siegel, who is a science writer, who said, "Is there a test that for you would absolutely distinguish between a flat and curved Earth?"
Yeah, if anybody can show us curvature or axial rotation or high pressure next to no pressure without a physical barrier, right? You can't have high pressure next to no pressure without a physical barrier. Imagine you're in a 2-story house. On the second story, you have a giant box, a big tank, and all of the air is sucked out of it. It's a vacuum tank. There's no air in that tank. And there's a valve sticking through the ceiling. If you opened up that valve, what would happen? All the air would go right up into the tank and equalize. Well, how come all of the air on Earth doesn't shoot up into space and equalize? And the only answer you can give me is gravity, right? Well, I can disprove that with a straw. I can take a straw, point it downwards, put it in my mouth, create a little bit of low pressure in my mouth with my lungs and my cheeks, and I can suck air and water up and away from Earth effortlessly. How come the vacuum of space, which is way stronger than my lungs, can't suck all the air off of Earth? It breaks the second law of thermodynamics. There is no curvature, okay? We can see too far according to their math. At 6 miles, at just 3 miles, there should be a 6-foot drop in the Earth, okay? There should be a 6-foot drop. There's not. We can see things way, way, way too far. Here's a short observation. We have much longer ones. And again, on the app under We Can See Too Far or Boats Over the Horizon, there's hundreds of these, and you can go confirm them yourself. When I first learned this, I was like, that's interesting. I got to do this myself. I bought the camera myself. I went down to the beach. I found out how far things were. I zoomed in. I'm like, how the fuck can I see that buoy? It should be 20 feet under the curve.
So
How the fuck can I see the Whitestone Bridge in New York City? When I'm 25 miles away, there should be 416 feet of curvature. The top of those, the 2 towers are only 216 feet high, I think. And I can not only see the towers, I can see the bridge, I can see the legs below the bridge, and I can see the footings on the bottom from just like 2 feet off the water. That's impossible.
That's the first thing that got you the
That was the first thing that I said, holy fuck, what the hell am I going to do? Right? Here's a camera 1 foot off the water. At 1 foot off the water, you shouldn't be able to see any water beyond 1.2 miles because it should drop behind that physical curve of the ball. At 9.4 miles, there should be 59 feet of curvature. Not only can we see the water at the oil rig, we can see water for tens of miles beyond it. Tens of miles, where there should be hundreds of feet of curvature. Navy ships that are doing targeting, they can put a pencil thin laser beam on another ship 100 miles away, more than 100 miles away. They can light it up with a laser beam, and there should be a 6,600 foot wall of water between them. And there's not. They can see it. Same thing with submarines. The submarine down there at the bottom can send its sonar out. Sonar hits anything, it'll bounce back. And that's how they can see where things are. It can see a ship a mile away, 100 miles away. There should be a mountain a mile high in between them, and there's not.
It's interesting that you talk about the distance because one of the things that I looked at was the Shaquille O'Neal experiment, and that
What is that?
there is a flat Earth experiment related to Shaquille O'Neal.
Holy shit, does he know?
I don't know about this. Go ahead.
Oh, he don't know about it.
So it's related to buoys on the water, in a sense, like the distance away that the bottom of the buoy would disappear depends on your height. So Shaquille O'Neal would
'cause
see
he's like
the
90.
would see the buoy further than I would see the buoy because I'm 5'3".
Yeah, she's short.
But he
I'm
gave a
short.
foot off the ground. He told how high it was. He said the camera was a foot off the ground, so you have a distance.
Yeah. So yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm ready to answer when you're ready.
Yeah,
What's the question?
finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I'm just saying, for one, I don't get, I guess I don't know where the numbers come in terms of like the 59-foot drop that should happen.
Oh, okay.
Earth
She's
is.
saying if you're taller, you're
Yeah.
going to be able to see further.
He
So
said the
you're.
camera was a foot off the ground. It doesn't matter how tall you are.
He's talking about.
Yeah,
so
no. When you're on a flat, here's what they want you to
I
believe.
don't understand like this automatic 59-foot drop.
I will
He's
explain.
10 feet on the
The
one
diameter
foot.
of the Earth and how round it is. It has
Yeah.
to drop so much.
Yeah, and the on a flat Earth though, the higher you stand, the farther you can see because it all has to do with angular, the angular view we have of things. So the bottom of something has the lowest angular view if it's at your eye level, but something up higher, you have a bigger angular view. But as it shrinks down by perspective, you lose the bottom first. The other thing is there's more density of air down the lower you get, and there's more particles that will hide things. So for example, out here, you don't see any boat. This is an empty horizon. It's an empty horizon. I'm zooming in. So by zooming in, I'm making things bigger. Oh, look, right there. There's a boat. So I'm going to zoom all the way in on this boat. You're going to see the entire side of the boat. Then I'm going to zoom out just like the boat's going away and watch. It's going to disappear from the bottom up, right? And it's disappearing from the bottom up for 3 reasons, right? There's half of it's gone. It's up to the windows. It's gone, just the mast. And now it's just too small to see.
Curve?
So how do you see it when you zoom in if there's a curve?
Well, there is no curve. It's flat.
I'm asking you, how would you see it if there's a curve? If you
Because
zoom
you're
in?
getting closer.
But there's a curve. You can't see over a hill.
But if you're walking up a hill,
He
as
didn't
you
walk. He zoomed. That's not.
I'm
the same.
zooming in for the same thing.
You're not-
Here, let me help you. Let me help you.
hold on, let him
You're
help
the
me.
same height.
No, let me help you. So here's a curved hallway. If I walked around this corner, right, and I'm totally gone behind the corner, and you had a telescope, could you zoom in and see me?
No.
Okay, so now let me just flip this hallway over. So this is like the curve of the Earth. So if I went over there, you couldn't zoom in because here's your physical horizon,
I got you.
and you zoom in on it. But we're talking about 3 things: perspective,
Except for-
angular resolution, and atmospheric blocking. And then also the little waves that are only a couple miles out could block an entire city skyline. Like you could hold your finger out, and I can hold my finger out and block out all of New York City, right? That my finger can block out New York City. It's all about perspective, and things just disappear from the bottom up. That's how it works.
So
They appear to disappear from the bottom up. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't. Like the sun, right? The sun is totally different, depending on how you view it. But when the sun goes away, it disappears behind what I call the atmospheric deck of opacity. So here's the sun going away. I put these clouds in here. They're all at the same level.
You call it the atmospheric what?
Atmospheric deck of opacity. Just think of it as a cloud deck. So this cloud
Oh,
is
okay. I just couldn't
this
hear.
cloud looks lower, but it's really the same height. This cloud looks lower, it's really at the same height. And the ones in the far distance will just merge with the horizon. So as the sun moves away, look, it's setting. It's not really setting, it's just going beyond this cloud. It's moving away. And then this cloud ends up merging with the horizon. It's black, and it just goes away. Just like if I held my hand here, if this is that deck of opacity and my fist is the sun, as it just goes away, it sets like that.
So I also wanted to ask about kind of the sun's relationship to other things in the galaxy.
but before you get to that question, I have a question about things disappearing in the distance as they go around the curve as most people believe. What is your opinion on atmospheric refraction?
Well, there is atmospheric refraction, but that's the Glober's excuse for everything. Gravity and refraction. Like looking across Lake Michigan, we should only be able to see the very tops of in Chicago, the very, very tops of the buildings, but we can see the entire skyline. And they say, well, it's a mirage. It has to be a mirage. Well, it's not a mirage. And the way we proved that was on a day where we could see Michigan. Some of our guys got in a boat, they put a camera on Michigan, and they went 50 friggin' miles, right? And if it was a mirage, it would have disappeared at one point. It would have gone up, it would have gone down, it would have done something, but it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and they saw it the whole time. We've also done time lapses for 24 hours where we have different weather, different temperatures, day and night, and lights, and it just stayed there. It never moved. If it was a mirage, it would come and it would go, because mirages are sketchy things. So let me explain. This is what they claim is a mirage and refraction. So here is Illusion, France, is the viewing point. And this is a very famous spot because when you look out here, Mount Canigou is 175 miles away, but you can't see it because it's 175 miles from this height, that distance. The very top of Mount Canigou should be a mile or more below the horizon. So if this is the physical horizon of the curved Earth, there's no way to see Mount Canigou. But on 2 days a year, when the sun lines up with it, all of a sudden the sun starts backlighting it and this shows up. Some might think it's a cloud, but it's not. This is Mount Canigou. And the very top of Mount Canigou right here should be a mile below the curve, but it's not. It's there. But when the sun isn't lined up with it or higher in the sky, it's invisible. So Glober will say, that's because of the curve. And then we say, what about this, Mr. Glober? And it goes, oh, that's refraction. The sun already set and the mountain is floating up in the air and stopping right at eye level. Stopping right here. We can see the entire mountain, top to bottom.
Hold on, y'all call us Globers?
Yeah, you guys are Globers because you're funny.
I would equate that.
That's great.
I would equate that video to an experiment of shining a laser through a crystal around the corner.
So you think that this mountain's not here right now? It's actually refracting up around a ball?
The person around the corner can't see me shining the laser, but they can see the beam from the laser.
But what's refracting it is the thing. What is refracting all?
And why is it stopping? Why isn't the water in front of it refracting up higher?
I'm not saying,
They say only things behind the curve refract, and they only refract as high as the right to the exact level of the horizon. If things were refracting, they would refract up into the sky. They would refract all over the place. They'd come and they go in different conditions. Every year, the same day, it shows up.
So I'm certainly not disputing your claims. I'm just thinking of it outside of the box, so to say. So
right.
The reason, I guess, to explain why they would always refract and show up in the same spot is because the atmosphere has different densities, and maybe it takes a certain density for the refraction to happen.
But why does it never happen any other way except for perfectly that way? That seems weird that it only happens
Kelly's
one
got a
certain way
question, and then I
perfectly
have a
lined
question.
Thank you.
up. You
all
see
right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Why is it only
I
ever
kind of wanted to
instead
go
they're
back
upside
to
down
kind
every
of the bigger
I'm not
the
saying
bigger
it's-
picture.
That's weird as shit.
And
I want to see the video of them. Sorry,
shut up.
my bad.
All right. I want
No, you got it.
the bigger picture, and I'm trying to understand because Earth is bigger than the sun. The sun is moving around the Earth.
No. Oh, I know. You're talking about the flat Earth model.
Yes. So in your model, Earth is big. The sun is moving around. I'm kind of wondering how the sun relates to other things in the galaxy.
The Earth is a projection, and the rest of them-
In the flat Earth model, like how is the sun in relation to Venus or Jupiter or what are the thoughts of those things?
So again, any lights that we see in the sky, whether they're stars, wandering stars, which they now call planets, are or the sun and the moon. The only thing we can accurately say about them, we can't say how big they are, we can't say what they are, we can't say how far they are. We can only say that they're lights. We don't know what they are. Now, I have my theories on what they are. but they're all within the Earth system. They're not in the solar system. They're in the
They're all
Earth
on top
system.
of this domish type thing being spun around as projections.
They're above us.
So that's
and
why we
they're
always see them in
spinning.
the same spot, even though we're all moving. That's
Yeah.
the explanation. They have to be there, or else why 2,000 years later is the Big Dipper in the exact same spot, even though our solar system's moving 60,000 miles an hour along with the sun.
60,000. It's going 500,000 miles an hour.
It's not even going slower.
It's going sideways at another million miles an hour. It's orbiting. It's slingshot. I mean, these things are insane.
I actually had a question. I think somebody on our Twitter had asked this question, but I already had this question.
Then everything.
Go ahead.
How do y'all
Everybody would see
explain
the same night sky, which
seasons?
is not
Yes.
And all
That's
I
my favorite.
are you excited? Hold on, y'all be quiet. He's excited about seasons.
My favorite. All right. So here we have the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Right now, the sun is migrating inwards. Okay. This red line is the equator. This outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. And the inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. I know you've heard all these terms before, but you never really knew what they meant. So I'm going to move the sun to June, which is the height of our inner north, right? The north is all of these inner lands, and the south is all of these outer lands. And we have opposite seasons. You guys are aware of that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to use the little jumping guy in the upper left there. And February, March, April, May, June. And the sun moves all the way into the Tropic of Cancer. So this is why in Florida and Mexico, it's super friggin' hot in June, because the sun is directly over them, high in the sky over their heads, right? Australia is having the height of their winter then, because it's far away from Australia. It's way up north or out north or in north, whatever you want to call it. And it's lower in the sky. Okay, so if I jump 6 months out to December 21st, and now the sun is over Australia, and we're having our winter because the sun is far away from us out south, right? Imagine two airplanes, just for simulation. One of them, they're both paralleling each other at the same height. One of them's directly over your head, and one of them's 50 miles to the south, okay? The one over your head is your summer sun. It's closer, it's higher in the sky. The one lower in the sky, farther away, is your winter sun. That's how seasons work.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's how season. We thought you had a different thing for
He just
seasons.
explained a whole different thing.
No, what he said is exactly true. Like the reason we get winter is because the season.
No, it's because of the angle of us towards the sun at certain times of the year. That's what they say, not what he said.
Let me explain what the seasons on the helio-nonsensical bullshit model.
Y'all's is the opposite, but it's still the same thing.
No, you're so wrong on your. You don't even know. This is the other thing. You Globers don't even know your own model, and it's okay because I didn't either. We're told because when the upper part of the ball is angled towards the sun, they say that the sun has direct rays and it's coming on us, and so the sun is concentrated, and then when we tilt away, it spreads out, and that's our seasons. You know, we have winter because the light is spread over twice the amount of area or whatever, and that's how we have our season. There's many problems with that. The first problem is, who the hell assumed that the sun rays are coming in parallel when no one's ever observed that? Okay, we never see sun rays coming in parallel. They're always spread like it's a close light right above those clouds. Okay,
he painted the things.
The other thing is on June 21st, when the sun appears on the horizon in the morning, if you go to the beach, if you're where you can go to the beach and watch the sunrise, as soon as the sun shows up, you can feel the heat on your face in June, the height of our summer, immediately. And then 6 months later, let's give the sun every option on solar noon on December 21st, when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, a much more direct angle. You can look at the sun and not even feel the heat on your face. It should be arctically freezing every morning all year long at sunrise.
That's true.
And it's not. It has to do with the closeness of the sun. Get a heat lamp, hold it in front of your face and tilt it. You know, it's not going to make much of a difference. Move it away and all the heat goes with it. the sun migrates in and out every 6 months, like clockwork. It never changes. It's always there. Seasons are perfect. The stars and the sun. Did we look at the stars? We looked at the stars, right?
Yeah, we did the stars.
So I do want to ask about, the tilt, and I want to, if that doesn't exist under the flat Earth model,
Mhm.
what causes kind of the 6 months of day, 6 months of night at the poles?
Yeah, well, so there's a partial assumption there. There's only a 24-hour sun in the inner Arctic. So if you live inside, like where Norway is or where northern Alaska is, when the sun is over the smaller circle, the Tropic of Cancer, it never gets far enough away from those inner places. No matter on its whole trip around, it never gets far enough away to set because it's distance that makes it set. So you have 24-hour suns, then it starts going farther away, and then you have day and night. And then when it goes all the way out to the Tropic of Capricorn, it's so far away from Alaska and Norway, it never rises. So you have 24 hours of sun, you have a couple of weeks or however long it is where there's no sun at all. In the south, in Antarctica and Santiago, there's times where the sun never rises because it's all the way in. But when it's having their summer, like when we have our summer, there's 24-hour sun in the north. There's no 24-hour sun in the south. They tell us there is. There's 4 videos filming it, which are completely faked, provably fake. If you just look at them, I mean, repeating clouds and just ridiculous overlays and fisheye lenses. There's no 24-hour sun. There's some webcams in Antarctica at some of these stations that will show time lapses, and we noticed that during December when there should be a 24-hour sun, and we're watching these flags, these shadows go around. They only go for like 8 hours, and then it cuts, and they cut out 14 hours or whatever.
What are clouds? Are
They're
clouds
people.
different for
Clouds are
flat Earth?
people, if you ask me.
Clouds are no, because I'd always heard it was where like the pressure from the outer space hits our pressure.
All right, ready? This one's gonna blow your minds. Ready? So, you guys have been you're in South Carolina, so you've been through a hurricane, right?
Actually, no. We're in Greenville,
We're
like
pretty
Charleston.
inland.
Yeah, we're.
Have you been in incredible heavy downpours where like rivers of water are coming out of the sky?
Yeah.
Where were those trillions of pounds of water before it rained? Floating in a cloud?
Yeah, that's what they tell us, and sometimes
That's what they tell us. Trillions of pounds of water floating in the sky, and then when an airplane flies through a cloud, it's not flying through water. It's flying through some water vapor. I'll give you that.
I've actually flown through a cloud. I don't know if any of y'all have. It is
was weird
wild.
as shit. It was, yeah. I did it for the first time a few months ago.
Wild.
It was fucking weird.
I know, but you're not flying through solid
True,
water.
it wasn't wet. My window didn't get wet.
Yeah, so your window didn't even get wet. So where is this water coming from? Well, think about this. If we live in this pressurized system, and I believe space is water above and water below the earth. Okay. So, and if you look in the Bible, page 1, Genesis, God separated the waters from the warmer waters with the firmament. So when we have a low pressure system, it allows water to come in from above, whether it's, I don't know how it works, but it comes in and the winds spit it out and you have all of this water. Low pressure allows water in. Think of the bottom of a pot of water that's boiling. You have the bubbles growing on the bottom. If you were inside that bubble, you're on a flat earth. You have a dome over you. You have water above it. There's no physical barrier. It's very interesting.
Well,
Lower the pressure, water will come in.
Explain the rain and frogs then, because hold on.
Since we're speaking about clouds and everything,
Why are we talking about rain and frogs?
No, because I've always
this is directly related to what we're specifically talking about.
mine is.
Since we're
We're not supposed
speaking
to be
of,
doing that.
since we're talking about clouds and stuff, evaporation is a thing.
That's what I'm saying, and that's I always heard that when it rained frogs is because it evaporated the tadpoles, and then they got too heavy for the clouds to hold, so then it rained frogs.
No, clouds are water vapor according to science.
Yeah. And
whenever the density gets too high, it drops down, and that's rain or
frogs.
Precipitation.
Yeah. Evaporation,
So
condensation, and precipitation.
If you're on a plane and you fly through a cloud, you're not getting soaking wet. Just like if you have a pot of water sitting on the stove boiling and you put your hand across it.
Your hand does fucking get wet. Are you
No,
about to tell me that it doesn't?
Let me
It would
finish.
be on the window.
Let me finish. If you move your hand through, it's not going to get soaked. You're
No,
gonna
but
you're going to get a little bit of water vapor.
Right
on-
there. So yes, when a cold
at 700 miles an hour through a cloud, and there's only a little bit of water vapor in that cloud because it hasn't reached its
you're going too fast
Peak-
for it to catch on you.
peak density, it's going to blow off before it
That's
accumulates
true.
high enough for you to see it's there.
So when a cold air pocket of air hits that cloud, that water will condense and it'll drizzle. It'll rain. You get a light rain shower. So yes, clouds do deliver rain, but hurricanes deliver water, tons, trillions of tons of water, ridiculous amounts of water, and that's not floating in these clouds. You know,
Well, I'm not being insane. Isn't a hurricane though to where something happens that makes the air? Y'all sound dumb.
No.
I already know it.
So
Where
it's a very big low pressure system.
and
so-
it sucks water and then
Yeah.
throws water.
They want us to
It's not
believe
great.
that the hydrological,
But
Different.
that is, it's still holding up there until it rains.
yeah.
Oh,
So
So with
Again.
the hurricanes generally
I,
start
I don't think it's
I-
held anywhere. I think
No.
it's just
It
like
just
bam.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I
it's
thought.
as
But
some-
it collects
as
the water
someone-
out on the ocean and then rains inland. It
You
has to
done
be
started
up in
an
the air
argument
for a
about
bunch of
hurricanes.
miles.
So
It's in the
I've
world. I
been
guess.
through-
I don't.
A bunch of
I'm
pounds of
not
water is
an
being held
I've
expert
never
in
on
been in a
weather
hurricane.
at
Back up
all.
hold on.
We're not experts on anything.
I'm
It
from-
drove here.
Oh, he's from Florida. He's been
I'm
in
from
hurricanes.
South Florida. I've been through many hurricanes. So generally, we all know your hurricanes start generally as a tropical storm in the ocean. Wind speed. The water's not being held in the air. The wind traveling across the air picks up water
And throws it.
and
Gross.
slings it out. Essentially.
Yeah.
To dumb it down.
that's not true. That's not true.
We're on top of shit.
That's not true. Now you could have downspouts, like not a tornado what's a tornado over water called? Water spout. And that could be how frogs get sucked up into the air and fish get sucked up into the air. That it's actually been proven that's how it happens. So that's how it will rain frogs. How it rains men, I don't know. That's a whole nother thing.
Well,
Since
that's
since we're talking about rain, I
No,
absolutely have to ask about
I'll be here all day.
how that works in flat Earth, because the center of gravity would be different in a flat Earth versus a
There is
round.
no gravity on flat Earth.
No gravity.
What?
But
No
if there's no
gravity?
gravity, don't
Oh,
stuff float.
Hold on a second though, because
Remember, I'm the dumb one.
I still want to go back to the hurricane thing.
Oh, okay.
Now, based on your model, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just taking it based.
We're
on,
asking drunk
Yeah,
questions.
I'm
You
drunk-
were warned beforehand.
I'm
sir.
drunk as shit right now, so I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I just want more clarification. If the wind is not picking up water out of the ocean and slinging it,
If it would, it would be raining salt water.
I can repeat that experiment with my air compressor on a puddle on the ground. I can.
Yeah,
blow
but if the wind was picking up water from the ocean, it would pick up salt water. Now, water evaporates from the ocean, creates what we see as clouds, water vapor, and then when the temperature changes, that water vapor will come down as fresh water.
It does pick up salt water.
Filler. What's that?
It does pick up salt water. I've been through a hurricane.
A hurricane-
Well, a hurricane will pick up some salt water and blow it off the water into your face. Absolutely. But it's not going to, and again, it could also, you could have water spouts again sucking up some water, but that's not where all the water is coming from.
Oh,
So
okay.
are you saying if it were to pick it up like we've all been told, that the water and the salt would separate?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Now, if you're in a hurricane at the shore, yeah, it's going to blow the tops of waves off. They're going to fly in and you're going to get covered with salt water. But the vast majority of the water, if not all of it, once you're inland, is fresh water. So where's that water coming from? That there's still lots of
I
questions
get
about
what he's
that.
saying. I get what he's saying. Like regular rain, we've been told comes from clouds, and that's just like rain.
But
Yeah.
Hurricane water is too much fucking water to be held
Thank
in
you.
clouds. So that's why you got to dumb it down for us, son. I told you
But
that.
my thing is, I've been through hurricanes. But
But that's
I've
what
been
I'm
in
saying. The
many.
water didn't come from the clouds.
it didn't. The wind picked it up and threw it out.
Which is
Essentially,
what-
to dumb it down.
Yeah.
Well, or the
And
water
it-
came in from
and
above
absolutely-
and the
it
wind
absolutely
spewed it
is.
around.
It absolutely is salt water.
I thank God
Right.
I've never
We
been.
can move on. We can move on from this.
Yeah. I know we have had you for a while, so do we want to do your final push for this is it? This is why.
Well, why do you guys? I mean, there's a lot I can get into, but what would be one proof that you have that you live? One reason you would say that you live on a globe?
Well, see, I really don't have one, and that's remember you told me to wait because you were going to talk about at the end that everybody's question is why does it matter? That's been my whole thing the whole time. I'm like, who fucking gives a shit? If they came out today on whatever news network and they were like, hey, you guys, the Earth is flat. Well, I mean,
What difference does it make?
same for me. So,
The shape of the Earth doesn't matter. So
Not the same. They all murder each other.
this is a mind control. This is about keeping on the Matrix, if you will. You know the movie with Keanu Reeves.
oh yeah, that's
Okay. Yeah, so at the beginning of the movie, Neo is depressed. He doesn't know what's going on. The world is something's wrong with the world, and that's because his mind is separated from his soul. His soul knows the truth of the world, but his mind is trapped in the Matrix, and he doesn't know what the world is. By the end of the movie, he figured out that what the Earth is. That it's he figured out what the Earth is, who he is, what he is, and the power of his mind. This whole thing is about mind control, right? We are powerful beings having an experience here. We are at the center of creation. And the elite, the people that are running this world, the people that have hijacked it just about 100 years ago, are controlling our minds by not letting us know who we are. They want us to think that we're spinning out of control, flying through space, insignificant. An asteroid could take us out. Dinosaurs got extinct from an asteroid, that nuclear bombs are going to blow us up. They want to keep us in fear.
I want to ask about dinosaurs.
No.
Yeah. So we give away our God-given free will. They're not allowed to take it from us, but they can trick us into giving it to them. So if you live in fear and you don't know that your mind can create your reality, they don't want us to know that. If everyone united tonight and woke up tomorrow and said, fuck you, elite, we're going to open our businesses, we're not going to wear masks, you can stick it up your ass, it would be over. There's nothing they could do. There's nothing they could do because they are nothing. We are the many.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah. And I do have one more question for you. Since we are a conspiracy podcast, is there another, I know that you're big on the flat earth and that is considered a conspiracy, no offense, but is there another conspiracy that you love? Is there like a is Bigfoot real?
You know what? You're in South Carolina. My friend Karen B, she made a video on Bigfoot. I have not seen Bigfoot, but I believe that there are other beings that we haven't seen, that could be vibrating at a different, they can come in and out of the way we can see them. Maybe we haven't found them easily because they can change their frequency. That's very easily provable that it could be done.
That's a good.
I believe in Bigfoot. I love Bigfoot.
Yeah, well,
But I also hope we never find Bigfoot because.
Well, how do you know? Bigfoot might look at us as the primitive ones.
He'd be able to disappear.
But
and
our
appear when he
government
wanted.
would kidnap them all and do shit. I hope we never find Bigfoot, but I think Bigfoot is.
For Bigfoot's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so before Flat Earth, were you a conspiracy guy? I know you.
Well, conspiracy. I think you were not saying conspiracy theorists. You guys are in the middle of a big conspiracy, and that's to make a drunken podcast. You conspired to get together and create this podcast. That's a conspiracy. So, yes, are people conspiring for their own benefit? Absolutely.
Really? It's just we always do this, and we decided to turn the camera on. We were like,
Exactly.
I bet people want to hear our bullshit.
We make no money off of this whatsoever, so we're not benefiting.
So,
We hope y'all are benefiting.
Yeah.
so our quick backstory is we always get drunk together, and we always, as most drunk people do, start talking about
Wild shit. Just wild shit.
stupid bullshit that you don't talk about when you're sober. And one day we thought,
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you 30 years of content. You ready?
Oh, probably not, but go ahead.
Yes.
StopLookThink.com.
Oh, is that a thing?
StopLookThink.com.
Is that like a conspiracy website?
Good luck. Bring food and water.
It's like a rabbit hole I'm about to be stuck in for like 4
And
months.
here's one that you got to look into is Tataria on the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. On the web page, you hit the web button, hit the Tataria button. You'll find out what this world really was about 100, 150 years ago. Nothing like they tell us. All of our history is a lie. All of it.
We might have to bring you back for a
Yeah.
follow-up till you made me
Well,
learn
we're going to the thing.
Go to the conference. I'm telling you, got to get
We are
tickets though
absolutely-
before they sell out.
I promise.
You'll have a good time.
I'm on your.
Or just show up if you don't want to buy the ticket, which I don't think they're very much. You can go to the park. Go to the park the day before, and it's going to be a whole conference. It's going to be just people are going to be there all day. I'll be there all day. It'll be amazing.
There, like a Facebook page, or a lot of times.
It's solar. No, not solar. Flat Earth Festivals with an S at the end.com.
Okay.
Flat Earth Festivals, and it's called the Solar Return Festival.
Okay. We
At
will
the very top of the page, click events and then Solar Return Festival. There's the information, when it is, where it is, what it is. And it's going to be great. We have music. We have all sorts of stuff.
Sweet.
Super fun.
We are definitely going to be
We're
there.
there.
And we'll be bothering you the whole time.
Yeah.
Good luck.
if we can get to you. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
It was great.
You have absolutely given us some shit to
So
think
here, let me finish with this. Globe Earth has a big advantage over Flat Earth. You can just believe it. Hey, Earth is round. All right, let's go have a drink. If you want to learn the truth about our world, it takes critical effort, time, thought, and energy to do. But once you understand that you're not a random speck flying through an infinite universe, everything changes. When you say, well, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work. My entire life changed. It's amazing. Okay. And you won't see it until you see it. So what I say is, you can try to research yourself, but it's so hard to find the information. That's why I developed this app, Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Just point your camera at that QR code and it'll come up on your phone. It's $3. Oh my God, he's in it for the money. I walked away from lots of money to do this and take scorn. So yeah, I got to support myself, but just read the reviews if you don't think it's worth it. Everyone loves the app. Everyone loves the app. Everybody.
We will
best app in the App Store. And on Android, you have to have 8.0 operating system or higher, or an iPhone 6 or better for it to work. All right. So that covers most people.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This was super fun. And I'm going to research everything you told me to research. And then I'm going to be reaching out because we're going to do this again. So.
All right. You guys were fun. Thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
So before we go, we need to shout out our 2,000th follower. You guys.
Blank out all what we just said.
Yeah, we got to cut that shit.
And now we have to stop.
Wait a minute.
Stop.
Now.
Wait a minute.
Stop.
Now
Wait
you
a
do it.
minute, Mr.
Oh,
that was a great show.
You know,
There you go. That was so
hold
fun.
on. The appropriate response to that should have been another song of collaborate and listen.
Collaborate and listen.
No, stop. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Either way,
I'm old as fuck.
congratulations to our I'm saying congratulations like you're doing something cool. Like, lucky for you, you're number 2,000.
You signed up for our bullshit.
What is it? It's a Play Your
Pods Right.
Play Your Pods Right podcast. And if y'all are not listening to this, y'all are doing terrible fucking things because that shit is hilarious.
We
Did you say
love it.
2,000?
Yeah, and we're at like 2030. No, 2,000.
Fucking doing good things.
We're doing great things, man. Didn't even know.
I
But
feel like a month ago we were at 1,000.
we were.
Right.
But Play Your Pods Right was our 2,000th follower. So we were going to send him some goodies, but out of the kindness of his heart and knowing that we're from the South and we're poor, he was like, I'm, international. Maybe don't spend $50,000 to send me a sticker. So he said, give it to 2001, our 2001 follower. 2001st follower was
like
Zero
that.
Credits podcast with Henry and John.
We are fans of Player Pods, right?
Player Pods is my jam, and Zero Credit Podcast. They are also our jam. Y'all can look for some goodies in the mail.
Yeah, absolutely get the information. We'll pay to ship.
We love Blood and Fire Water. Rashad, we haven't heard from you lately.
Rashad is our jam. Potato Lady. Still loving Potato Lady. Quips and Dips. Still loving Quips and Dips.
Love Quips and Dips. If y'all aren't listening, y'all are stupid as fuck because that shit is
she's my jam.
fabulous.
Basic bitches, we have decided. Matt's our basic bitch.
Or maybe Kara. or maybe Kara.
I'm only half basic.
Maybe
is what they
Kara
say.
might be the basic
I'm
bitch.
half basic, but Matt.
I'm
let me
not
tell you,
basic.
This
at
is
all.
a direct quote from Matt earlier. He goes, I was listening to rap music in the car, so I stopped at the store and bought a Black and Mild.
Basic bitches, decipher this.
Okay, before we go, fuck all y'all. Goodbye.
Oh, okay, and don't forget to check out www.drunktheory.com. We are also setting up our Patreon, and we are also working on some sort of raffle type thing because for whatever reason I ended up with a whole roll of raffle tickets.
And whenever I serve up, I'll write a newsletter.
So yeah, and we're gonna have a newsletter. So if you go,
Yeah.
he's working on it. We got a template. We're started. We're 20%.
And y'all watch my TikTok.
And watch Kelly's goddamn TikToks.
I'm making the drinks. I'm trying for
She's
y'all.
doing her best.
I'm doing the best that I
All
fucking
right, that's
can.
it.
All right, but thank y'all. We love y'all.
Bye.
It's over.
It's over. Hold on.
Bye.
Love y'all.
Hold on, I gotta find the button.
I dropped my cigarette.
But